Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to a tutorial that explores essential techniques for rock and roll saxophone. Today we're going to look at 4 separate techniques, and I have individual tutorials on my YouTube channel already for each of these techniques. So I won't be going into any detail as to how to perform these techniques today. I simply want to summarize them for you here in this tutorial. The first is the growl, and it is the most essential technique on saxophone if you want to play in a rock and roll band. Think of the great rock group, the legendary AC/DC, and focus on Angus Young, that group's pioneering lead guitarist. Think of songs like Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, Highway to Hell, It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll. Imagine those same tunes if Angus Young had played a clean Fender Telecaster sound, a country sound, for his solos and backing riffs, as opposed to his highly distorted and famous signature Gibson SG rock guitar sound. It would be ludicrous to think of Highway to Hell with a clean country Fender Telecaster sound for the lead guitar. Now, it's equally as ridiculous to think of a saxophone player playing a rock solo in a rock classic with a super clean sound on the sax. The equivalent for us to a distortion pedal on saxophone is the technique called the growl. We simply hum as we play. Check out my tutorials on how to play the growl. It's not easy to develop, but once you do develop it, it's with you for the rest of your life. If you think of Robert Palmer's great song, Addicted to Love, and think of the 3-note riff at the start. Now that's with a clean sax sound. If I was playing for a cover version of Robert Palmer's Addicted to Love and I was asked to play that riff at the start, I would automatically put on the growl in the same way that Angus Young automatically turns up to the gig with his distortion pedal, his overdrive on his amp. So this is a more authentic way to play the riff to Addicted to Love. If you play like that, instantly the band's going to say, right, this guy is in the right band. He understands the concept of turning a clean sound into a distorted sound. And it's the latter sound that is most applicable in a rock band. Okay, the next technique is the fall-off. The fall-off is simply where we go, bow. We simulate the effect of a glissando in a downward directions. But the best way to think of it is literally that sound of bow. It's everywhere in rock music. And that time you would have noticed I actually used the growl and the fall-off effect together. You need to really perfect the ability to go bow on your saxophone. The third technique is the Altissimo Register. Now, there are many saxophone songs that don't go into the Altissimo Register, but in rock and roll, a good screaming high note is a real crowd pleaser, a showstopper, and an essential technique. You don't have to do it in every song, and definitely don't, but you do need to be able to play the super high notes on the saxophone to add that excitement into your rock solos. Most saxophones nowadays come equipped with a high F sharp key, and you'll notice as I wiggle this key down here that a hole right up here, the highest hole in the saxophone, opens. So we can all play F to F sharp, but you need to develop your Altissimo Register if you intend to play above high F sharp. And that last note I played was G above high C. A great song that combines the growl, the fall-off, and the Altissimo Register is Edgar Winter's famous sax solo in Simply the Best by Tina Turner. I have a separate clip on how to play the sax solo in Simply the Best. It uses all of them. It goes up to a double high E, a phenomenal high altissimo note. It has a lot of fall-offs in it, and the growl is an essential part of that solo. Now finally, the sliding trill is a really interesting effect to incorporate into a rock and roll saxophone. I do have a separate tutorial. This is what it sounds like. Okay, it's a really interesting effect, the sliding trill. I hope you've enjoyed this summary of those effects. Master each of them, combine them together or individually, and it'll really personalise your rock and roll saxophone sound. Bye for now.